Hello, 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 and welcome to the Beary Tyler Moore Show, a new talk show where we talk to the people of Philadelphia nightlife. And each week we'll be joined by different folks, and we'll be talking about their experiences working in Philly nightlife and performing. So tonight we have a great show planned for you. We have three guests this evening. We have Rita Brujeria, we have Diva Baby, and we have Holden McGroin. So you're in for a great show. The way that this works is we have Venmo and CashApp set up, and we have those available for donations because we are a show that pays our performers. So anybody appearing on the show tonight will be paid out of the tips, and also a portion of our tips will be sent to the Philadelphia Performance Artist Emergency Fund. So if you are able to donate, if you're still working, please tip us tonight. There's a suggested donation of $5. But yeah, it's really important to make sure we're paying our performers. A lot of folks are currently out of work. And a lot of our folks who signed up to be part of the show have actually opted not to take any donations and to give to the emergency fund as well. So it's going to be a good night. And I hope you all are ready because our first guest is coming up next. Put your hands together for Rita Brujeria. Hey, Rita, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm good. Let's change up this background color. Get some hot pink going on here.
You already know my brand.
Yes. Today I decided to wear this little corset number for you.
I'm so happy that you did. Oh my God. It's so cute.
Yes, I went for Goth Clown in honor of Diva Baby.
I know your hair is just everything about you right now is just perfect.
Oh, thank you. And you're looking so cute in your little cardigan. I love it. The cardigan and glasses look.
Yes, you know.
With your little hair clip beret. I love it.
Yeah, and then I had to do a little pink bra with it.
Little boobage.
little risque.
Yeah, so for those of you who do not know, Rita is one of our local burlesque stars. I'll go be as bold as to say star. So why don't you give us a little introduction about who you are?
Well, I am a performer in the Philly nightlife. I started performing about a year ago, and I don't know. I feel like I do kind of whatever I want, so to speak. Like I'll do drag, I'll do burlesque, I'll just perform. But yeah, I feel like I'm very lucky to be able to do that. And 1 year later, I'm nominated for 4 Golden Tassel.
Yes, congratulations! Give it up for Rita.
Yeah,
nominated for awards left and right.
I'm so seeing that always. Thank you. I always feel so humbled and wow, this is my life right now. Like people actually just enjoy watching me perform and seeing the art that I put out and seeing all the love that I put into everything, and it just makes me feel really whole whenever I get to be a part of this community and any else.
And you're also such a talented performer. Like I could just watch you up on that stage forever. You are fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really do love that Philly is a little bit more open. I'm sorry, we'll fix my little strings here. Philly's a little bit more open for that kind of interdisciplinary mixing of things. Like you can do a little bit of burlesque, a little bit of drag, a little bit of cabaret kind of stuff, and do your performance art and whatever. It may be a little bit of clownage, maybe,
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. Like everyone does this so well. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like Mixtraordinaire, Junebug, all of my local clowns, you guys are all inspiring me to try it out.
Yeah, well, actually, that's a perfect segue to introduce our next guest, who I believe went to clown school. Give it up for Diva Baby, aka formerly known as a Dom Top.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I'm just gonna why don't you introduce yourself? Well, I put up a little banner here so we have our little Venmo there, not blocked by our screens.
Okay. So hi, I'm Diva Baby. I am a formerly trained clown and drag performer here in Philadelphia.
Yes, we love to see it.
Let's see. Well, here in the quarantine times, I produce a show called Sad Girl Spring. The next one is on Thursday.
Yes.
We have some really amazing performers like Untitled Queen, some Philly favorites like my co-producers Fiarla and John Bonet, as well as some really other sickening performers.
I mean, we love to see it. Oh, there it is. A little banner for you. Yeah, so Sad Girl Spring, I really enjoyed the first one. It was good to see some live performances on the TV, and I always love a good ballad.
Yeah.
Like, give me a sad song dripping with emotion. Like, I feel like because I'm dressed up today, I am gonna go on TikTok after this and just do some sad clown ballads.
Yes, we love a ballad. And as a performer, I've always loved ballads, and I think that's why kind of Sad Girl Spring came about, because Fiarla, John Bonet, and I all really love to do ballads. So
yeah, Fiarla used to do a show. I'm sorry, what was that? Crosstalk. What were you saying?
I was saying that's why we decided to make a show.
Yes, and Fiarla actually, I think, had a show on like the third floor of Taboo that was like a similar concept of like kind of slower, like slow jams.
Yeah, well, John Bonet and I were both on that show.
Yeah, that was a great one too.
That was such a good lip service. Remember when I was added to the cast of lip service 2 days before quarantine?
Yes, I do. I was there.
Oh, so was I.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, and our last performer for the evening is a drag king and a wonderful person to know on Facebook, because they're always super engaging and wonderful and fun to hang out with in online spaces. Welcome, Holden McGroin.
Hi.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing today, darling?
Doing well. So why don't you tell all of us a little bit about yourself?
Well, let's see. What's there to say? I'm not really in Philadelphia because I do not drive, nor do I have resources to go out there, especially right now. But I do host my very own drag show, or at least I did, here in Newark, Delaware, at Deer Park Tavern. Fun fact, Edgar Allan Poe cursed all of Delaware there.
Oh.
Wait, this is amazing. Are you from Delaware?
I am, born and raised.
So am I.
Oh, cool.
I went to CAB, if that means anything to you. What high school did you go to?
Let's see. I went to Newark High for my freshman year, and then my other years I went to this little private school.
Amazing. I had so many friends who went to Newark High after middle school.
Oh yeah.
See, making connections already.
That's why I thought your name sounded, your day name sounded so familiar, because it probably is. Our paths have probably crossed. It's Delaware.
Probably. Like, not only do I a lot of my friends from my sister, I was able to make a few of my own friends. I was a little chubby emo kid. Now I'm just a fat emo adult.
Same. We love to see it. We love to see it.
Well, I was gonna do a emo prom before the quarantine happened, so
yeah, I mean, so many things were planned before this quarantine, and it just threw a wrench in everything.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
That's tea.
Yeah.
But that's how we come up with shows like this. Like, we get
exactly.
Let's do something. Let's keep people entertained. I mean, there are so many people doing shows that, like, Eric Jaffe compiles a list every week and puts the entire week on their wall, just of all of the digital shows that are happening. And most of them are just Philadelphia. There's a few New York shows sometimes, but for the most part, it's just Philadelphia. And there are at least 7 shows every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could watch a full day of performance just in Philadelphia every day.
I feel like there's literally shows from 4 until midnight every night.
Yeah.
I do not know how they do it. I have so many drag king friends all around the United States, mostly in Austin, Texas. I think that's where they're spawned, and it's nice to see that they're able to put on these shows. There's actually all drag king shows now. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I would actually love to see. There's actually an all drag king show in Philadelphia, and I would love for them to do a digital version.
Yes.
because you can never do enough with kinks. And I mean, so everyone on this show tonight is either non-binary or a drag king and or a drag king. And so like, I feel like a lot of times when people think of drag, they think of cis male drag queens. And so like, how have y'all experienced like not fitting that kind of mold as new performers on the scene? Because I believe also everyone here is under 2 years old in the drag scene, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just
I'm like
over
3.
You're 3? Oh, you are. That's right. Because I saw you 3 years ago, or like 2.5 years ago in Delaware at UD's annual drag show.
And you get to see my wig fall in front of hundreds of people.
Listen, if you can't have fun in front of a star from RuPaul's Drag Race, then like, what are you doing with your life?
Oh my god, I wanted to climb Monet Exchange like a koala bear.
Listen, I love Monet Exchange. She's was a
so
fantastic performer. She came out in like sequined bodysuits and like all this stuff and just like was stomping around the stage, and I was living for it. I actually forgot, like, because we met because we were booked together in a show at Front Street Dive, and then I was like, oh right, I've seen you perform before. Were you at the show where Monet Exchange was performing at UD? And it was you.
Yeah, just that time I didn't have my tits flapping around with just duct tape covering the nipples.
I mean, I'm sure it would have been great, but UD might not have been happy about it.
They had a very strict no nipple policy. One that is not a policy that I have, but whatever.
Hey.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a rule in Philadelphia and a lot of places that you have to cover your nipples, especially female presenting nipples.
Oh yeah,
which is so frustrating.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating.
Look,
I wasn't even really aware of that practice until, I don't know if folks in the audience were there, but we had a benefit for Nick Greer's top surgery in February, and I did a number in which I took off 2 gloves and a fur coat and called it burlesque. And my nipples, I was wearing a halter dress, and my nipples just kept falling out. And afterwards, I was approached by somebody, and they were like, hey, you really need to be wearing pasties. You just put the venue in danger. And I was like, what? I had no idea.
Yeah, that turned into a big discussion, which
it was a huge discussion. And while I didn't appreciate people, who didn't know me calling me a man, I knew that it was because they didn't know me. And at the end of the day, I was really excited for yet another sparkly thing to put onto my body. So I was really excited to start wearing pasties. But then once I did, I realized that, it's really hard to have a pasty on your nipple 3 nights a week. No nipple hair. The sores you get are no joke. I'm sure Rita's been wearing pasties longer than I have. I'm sure they could say something about it.
My nipples chafe. They literally chafe when I have to wear them more than once a week. Like, I'm peeling off skin at that point. And I'm just like, why can't I just enjoy them if I have them out? Don't put anybody in danger. But
yeah, that's the thing, is if the bar gets in trouble, like if there is a danger, like if you don't wear them, especially and it's like so arbitrary too, because it's like you get in trouble if a female presenting person or like I don't even know how what the female presenting is the rules that were used by like Instagram and Facebook, but like the laws are like similarly worded, where men can't have their men can have their nipples out, but women can't. But there's of course no really accommodation for folks who are outside of that binary. So it's like, can a non-binary person who is AFAB not wear pasties? No, probably not, because it's up to the discretion of folks who probably don't recognize non-binary people and just be like, you have fat tissue on your chest, therefore you count as a woman. Which, guess what? I have bigger boobs than some women, so that's a dumb rule. But yeah, Dom, you've also used some creative things for pasties. I know you've used like tulle bows, and I've seen you use like actual plastic like nipple replicas.
I bought so for runners, they make like little band-aids that you can put over your nipples, and they're just the size of like an AMAB nipple. And I bought some joke ones that had actual nipples printed on them. So for a while I was wearing just photorealistic nipples over top of my nipples.
And I loved that because then also at one time you put like a third nipple there too, and I was like, I love it. I don't know what it is about sci-fi.
More than 2 nipples and less than 2 eyebrows at all times.
There you go. I mean, I don't know what it is about sci-fi, but I feel like a lot of sci-fi things are like obsessed with like the idea of having 3 boobs.
Yeah. Did you ever see that movie, Kung Pao?
Yes. Oh my God. I'm just
with the lady
where she had the one little you.
And she would be like,
Yeah.
I'm not even sure who did it.
Louisiana Purchase.
Oh yes, I'm not even sure who did it first, but I've seen it multiple times. It's like, let's do like an alien thing. Let's add a third boob, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm down for that.
The Oddly famously did it on the Drag Race finale. That was an iconic look.
Yes,
we stand a tri-tit. We stand triple titties. The more titties, the merrier, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, ask a cat. Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm going through the comments, and I did not know that you did a number like this, Adab, but I have to put this up on the screen. Diva Baby's dirty fucking asshole number. Oh my God, amazing.
Oh my God. That's throwing it back. That's like maybe the 2nd or 3rd number I ever did in a club.
I think I've seen it actually.
And yeah, I do a song by Martha Wainwright. I'm gonna bring it back soon. Actually, I was gonna do it at Tops Are Useless, the Nick Greer benefit, but for some reason I just like didn't. I'm gonna bring it back soon, so I won't describe it because there is a gag, there is a reveal.
Is that the like the folksy screlting type song, like the "You're a motherfucking asshole"? Yeah, that one. Yeah, I've seen that one. It's a great number.
Yeah.
And then Samantha also says, "Free the nipple."
Thank you.
Nipples must be freed, they must be cared for, and more importantly, they must be loved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be gentle with them. Unlike carpet tape is to them, you need to be gentle to nipples. Which, speaking of which, Bretso says, "This is the first time in 10 years that I've had nipple hair."
Wow.
Congratulations, Bretso.
Congrats.
Yes.
I love it. Oh, and Jeremy said Kung Pao entered the fist, which we were.
Thank you.
3 boob moment.
Enter the fist, honey. That's my pussy on a Tuesday night, baby.
That's like a good fisting joke for a Tuesday night.
I mean, how else do you celebrate Tuesdays but with a little bit of fisting?
Thank you.
As a treat.
Yes. Oh, and I forgot to say, if you would like to ask questions of this amazing panel this evening, feel free to type it in the comments and we'll put it up on the screen and discuss it. I have a few questions prepared, but feel free to ask away because I have a feeling that this could definitely go late if we really get to kikiing up in here. Oh my God, that sounded so white. Kikiing up in here. I'm a soccer mom.
Oh my God, let's kiki, guys.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, another "Love Thy Nipple."
Yes, true.
From
my nipple, love
from
your
Tiffany
nipple,
Uma
love
Mascara.
nipple.
I mean, I don't love my nipples, but I love other people's nipples.
It wasn't an all catch-all.
Oh my God.
And I feel like it was a choose your own adventure statement, you know?
And Devon said we're all slaying it, y'all.
Well, there's my boyfriend making comments.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's your boyfriend?
Yeah, Devin.
Yes.
Aww.
Devin,
We love a supportive babe.
He's very supportive, and I love him for that. You know, he's been supportive ever since I've came out as gender fluid. He loves that I'm a drag king, and I couldn't ask for a better boyfriend.
Yeah, so everyone on this call is non-binary. I love that. And your boyfriend is super cute. We love to see it.
Oh, he's so cute.
I
mean, I want to say some embarrassing things about him, but I don't think he'd appreciate that.
Probably not.
Can we go back to Barry's question about being non-binary in Philadelphia in the performance?
Yes.
I'm really interested to hear everybody's answer.
Thank you. I was trying to remember what I asked before, but my brain is fried. I have very little short-term memory and I have ADHD. So I'm like, wait, what happened? But yeah, so all of us are non-binary. So what have you experienced as non-cis white male performers? Or I guess some of us are not, but all of those things. If you're not a cis white male in a drag queen makeup, how have you experienced kind of not being that accepted in that scene, or have you experienced acceptance in the scene? That's a mouthful.
Raise your hand if you've ever been called she on the mic when you put they on your pronouns on the form.
Well, I use he as a performer, and I still get called she.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like specifically put, please call me they. Like, especially when I am Rita and in these performance spaces, like this really gives me the freedom to explore my gender and kind of just be what I want to be and how I want to present myself. And I automatically get defaulted to just she and just her. And I don't know, it's very frustrating because I'm very femme presenting, but like as a non-binary person, like it's really what, like how to tell me who I am just because I look this way and I dress this way and I like to look this way. I don't think it's fair to one to be like, oh, well, you were born this way, so it's just easier for me. And I just like challenging that whenever I'm on stage or even off stage. Like, I subscribe to your ideals, and I need you to understand that non-binary people do not just look just one way, and that we could look very femme or very masculine, or very androgynous. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of times where I feel defeated and I just let it go and I just don't say anything, and I find it frustrating that I don't speak up about it more. But it's exhausting, especially when I have to speak out about other things, about like sexism and racism and everything else that I have to deal with. Please just respect me with my gender expression. Like, for the bare minimum, it's all I'm asking. And it's just frustrating not even getting that sometimes.
Yeah.
I also feel like cis people have like a different understanding of gender than we do, and it's like very like this biological essentialism is definitely there, because I'm obviously a bearded queen, and so I use she her sometimes, but yes, when I've put they them, I've still gotten she heard. I don't take it as personally because she her is still correct for me, but like I hate when I get he himmed when I'm in like high femme drag, because like I understand it a little bit when I'm wearing, like when I'm very bearded and like very like more masculine, I don't have like a full wig on or anything, like I understand it and I'm a little bit more patient. But I like once actually shaved my beard and did like a full like wig, makeup, like dress. Nothing about me said male, and people were dude, bro, man, he, all night. And I was like, what about my gender expression right now says he, him?
It's so frustrating. It's like, I can't even tell you how many times I've gotten into an Uber in, at the time, the softest face I've ever been in. And he's been like, oh, dude, hey, dude, what's up, bruh? And it's like, what about me? Like exactly like we said, like, what about me said he, him?
Mm-hmm. And like when you're like, I understand that a lot of like cis folks like see drag and they're like, oh, whatever. But even drag queens will say like, when I'm a queen, call me she.
Yeah.
And like it's like kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because there's like, you don't want people to start looking at you and assigning you a gender based on your appearance. But at the same time, when your appearance screams one thing and people say the complete opposite, it's like, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
Like, what part of me is saying like use he him pronouns?
Well,
is it like my shoulders or my jaw? Like, what is it? I
have really similar issues with when my family comes to see me, and I don't know if anybody in my family is watching right now, but this is, this comes from my heart, so whatever the fuck. I don't care if you get upset, but my family a lot of the time will call me he him. when we're in a drag space and they'll call me by my gay name and they'll just say like, yeah, and it's like, Mama, that's not, and I'm so grateful that they come to support me that I sometimes feel like I can't even say anything.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate the like you're being really nice, but you're doing this one like you're using this wrong word, and like if I say something right now, I'm a bitch.
Yeah,
because I'm like you're being perfectly nice, and I'm being like, well, actually, it's they them, and they're like, I'm so sorry, and it's like,
Yeah.
I get it, but like. But also, like, let's talk about apologizing. Like, how many of you have had, like, as a raise of hands, how many of you had someone who apologized for misgendering you, where the apology was worse than the misgendering?
I haven't run into that problem yet. Like, my gender expression has been fairly low key. I don't care if people still call me, use like feminine pronouns with me, but right now it's just water off a duck's back. But I've been finding myself feeling like really good, like when people use like masculine pronouns, even when I'm really femme presenting. So as of right now, I'm not really correcting anyone when they use these pronouns because they're technically right. Just some pronouns I feel better when people use them than others. So I haven't run into that problem yet, but I know that's probably going to change. I mean, I'm not cis, so.
What about you, Rita and Adam, or Diva Baby?
I feel like for me personally, when I correct someone, like when they're just like, oh, they use she or her, and I go, oh, it's actually they, them, thank you. And I kind of just leave it at that, just like, those are my pronouns. I kind of just get that look like what do you mean? There's only one of you. And then I'll have to sit there and I have to have like a conversation with them where it's just like, yes, there's one of me, but I don't go she. And then, I have to have that whole entire conversation with them. And they'll be like, oh, well, my bad. I don't understand this A, B, C, D, E, F, G nonsense. And then I have to go correct them about that. It just becomes this long line of just don't apologize to me because I have to educate you on every single step of the process. You're not listening to me. So I'm just not gonna continue on anymore. And I feel like that's one of my biggest frustrations where it's just like, do I correct people and use my correct pronouns, or do I just let it go so I don't have to put that emotional labor into it anymore? But some days are easier than most.
That's a whole mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the most frustrating things is like it's exhausting to always have that long argument, and so like you don't know when you correct someone if you're going to say, oh, it's actually they them, and they're going to be like, oh, sorry, yeah, I meant they them, or like good to know, and then move on. Or if they're going to be like, they them, what does that mean? What do you mean they them? I don't get it. And like it's a gamble. It's like, do I have the emotional energy to have this conversation? And like
half the time the answer is no. I don't.
Correct. Same.
I mean, half the reason why I let people just use like any old pronouns because I don't have the spoons, the energy, or whatever to correct them. I don't feel like explaining what gender fluid is in a way that they can understand. So I'm just like, whatever floats your boat. But as soon as I can grow a beard, I'm growing a beard and showing off my tits.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I would look so damn cute with a beard.
Hell yeah.
I want to put like little ornaments in it on Christmas.
Oh my god.
Oh god, yes.
My beard is starting to get long.
I really want Arlo.
Yes.
I want Arlo to draw on a mustache for me.
I tried doing the Arlo mustache technique recently with my like current profile picture on Facebook. And I don't know, only Arlo can pull that off. I had to like do the Holden with that.
You can ask them to teach you. I'm sure they wouldn't mind.
I'm sure they wouldn't either. But there are just some things that it's only Arlo. It's them. It's their signature.
We love Arlo.
We do.
I fucking love
Oh,
Arlo
hi,
so
all.
much.
We stand Arlo.
Praise Arlo.
We
Yarla
stand.
says we all want to look like Arlo TBH.
T.
Honestly, though.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Like they can pull off a mullet. A double
They
colored
single-handedly brought back the mullet to Philadelphia.
That's so true.
Honestly. They are the first modern queer to look good with a mullet.
I believe that. If you told me that was a fact, I'd be like, sure, sounds good.
I mean, people want to say it was Dahlia Black. It was
No.
Arlo.
But who was also
Period.
a sweetheart? I met Dahlia Black when she came to Taboo, and we like hung out on the fire escape of Taboo for a little bit
That is so.
backstage, and she was so sweet.
She looks like she's
Mm.
super sweet. I think she just got like the villain cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone had to do it. And I mean, at the end of the day, she said all of those things. But at the end of the day, I would have probably said all of those things.
Yes, I agree with her half the time.
So, you know.
Yeah, like, well, actually, that's another important kind of segue is what do you all think about the like televised drag events? Like, there is RuPaul's Drag Race, of course, which is now kind of getting its mainstream success. There's Dragula, which is now kind of showing up on streaming apps because it's on Amazon and on Netflix.
It's actually not on Amazon anymore.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
And then Camp Wanakiki, which is on YouTube. I don't think it's on YouTube Red, but it's like they're now on season 3, I believe.
I think
I haven't watched that
not
yet.
aired yet.
But
So
I had several friends in the second season.
of Camp Wanakiki, or
Yeah, Camp Wanakiki.
yeah, one of the first people that I followed when I created my Instagram for Beary was Diana Fire.
Oh yeah, I'm friends with her on Facebook. She is so cool.
Yeah, and her Instagram handle is Go Diana Fire. And I believe she was on season 2 of Camp Wanakiki.
yeah, somebody from season, whatever the most recent season was, followed me on Instagram, and I realized that their home bar used to be a strip club that I worked at in college.
Really?
Yeah. So there's the
What's the
bar
bar?
called, I don't know what it's called now, but it was called the X Room in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, Springfield. I
And
used to live in Waltham, so I used to drive through Springfield all the
so
time.
you know all about Springfield, baby. And yeah, I danced there for like 3 weeks before somebody backed into my car and totaled it in the parking lot. But yeah, Joey Ivana is the name of the queen. That's her home bar now.
There you go. And so was it a gay bar back when you worked
It
there?
was a strip club back when I worked there. So it was like there for everybody. But I think now it's a strip club and gay bar.
We'd love to see.
They
Oh
it.
my God,
I need to go there.
Which honestly is so ideal to me.
Samantha says, yes,
Yes.
talk to us about your strip club experience.
Okay, so my name was Timmy, and I went to Target before I got the job, and I bought all of the Marvel superhero underwear I could find.
Yes.
I would wear like my square rim glasses and like comic book underwear and like,
underoos.
yeah, pretty much, and like Chucks and like knee-high socks, and like that was my thing. I was like the nerdy boy. That was my gig.
I love it.
Very
I love it.
Springfield. They loved me.
Springfield, Massachusetts is kind of a weird like place. I feel like it's like there's like some liberal cities, but like even though they're liberal cities, they're still like not super liberal, and it's like it's a blue state, but it doesn't feel like a blue state, and I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah, my sister, she lives in Massachusetts, and where she lives, it's like literally like, in the middle of nowhere, and oh my God, like there's Trump signs, like pro-Trump signs, I should say, and I'm like, where in the fuck am I? And
no
then
offense to
like,
anyone who lives in Boston right now and like loves it.
yeah, nah. We're Worcester. I heard Worcester's okay.
Yeah, I actually know a few drag performers in Worcester through like different Facebook groups and stuff.
Yes,
And it seems like they have a better. I feel like they have a better gay scene than Boston does. I feel like there's like there is no gay scene in Boston. I've heard it's changed since I've been there, but like their block party for like Pride was like literally one block.
Ooh.
And it wasn't super full. And I've heard they've like moved Pride to like a much bigger area, and it's like much bigger now. But like I was like, what do you mean there's 3 gay bars in the entire city and they're nowhere near each other?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
that to me is just unconscionable.
Yeah, well, that's how the welcoming committee started up there. As they started going, they started doing this like straight bar takeovers, queer takeovers, where they would just like announce a night that they were taking over a straight bar and making it into a gay club for the evening.
Oh, that's what I did at my venue.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
We love taking over spaces, taking
Honestly.
back spaces. And that
I
spaces have
take
been
over
taken from
spaces
us.
with my tits.
That's what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Rita.
Oh no. I was just agreeing with you. Like our spaces always get invaded. And like we always have to deal with like bachelorette parties and like people unconsentedly touching us because they're just drunk and they're just like, oh my god, like what are you? Are you a girl? Are you a guy? Like, so
Yeah.
I am in full agreement to take over straight spaces.
Well, actually, at my last show, like I was felt up by like an older woman, and I was like really uncomfortable. I was like, "Can you please get your hand off my tit?"
Oh no.
So consent is mandatory, y'all, and I don't know what it is about shows like burlesque shows specifically and drag shows that people just like think because you're showing it they get to touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what are you doing?
I haven't experienced that like too bad, like while performing or like while I'm getting ready to perform. Like thankfully, like I feel our scene does like a really good job in our community. It's just always just like consent is mandatory, do not touch unless, you know, consent is given.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to like just applaud the whole community for that like we all stick together on that and just always enforce it. And when I feel uncomfortable or things like that, like we are on it and things get done right then and there.
Yeah, producers are like really important in like hosts and producers are probably the most important in keeping safe spaces safe, because like the host has to really like lay down the like, here's what we're going to be doing with the audience and say like, this consent is mandatory, do not touch us, we will not touch you. And I think that's really important for producers to like bounce people when they are touching people and also kind of enforce those rules, so it's not just an empty like don't do this type of thing. But yeah, I feel like there's, even when the scene is like really good about setting those boundaries and saying that, there's always like, not always, there are people who you will sometimes, there be one person in the audience who just is either way too drunk or is completely new and walked in halfway through the show and is just like, we're here to have, and bachelorette parties are one of the worst ones for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Have any of y'all like experienced like bad bachelorette
parties though, because they on many occasions have paid my rent, mama.
Yeah, that's
true.
a double-edged sword.
When this conversation comes up, sometimes how do I say this? Sometimes I feel like there is a little bit of, and maybe not when people like us are having it, but when you know, like cis male drag queens talk poorly on bachelorette parties, or they talk poorly about straight women.
When gay men in general talk about straight women taking over bars, it is like a tightrope walk.
It really can waltz its way into misogyny real quick. And at the end of the day, like, I have met more bachelorette parties who are respectful of my body and respectful of my time and who tip me boots than I have bachelorette parties who don't. I think the problem is really, for me, like, you know, cishet women who come into these spaces and just cishet people in general who come into these spaces, you know, like after happy hour or just like, you know, visiting their queer friend from out of town. Those are the people who really have crossed the line with me, more so than cis women with, you know, banners across their titties.
As much as I've seen cis women in queer spaces like being inappropriate, I've seen an equal amount of cis gay men attacking women who are doing nothing wrong for just existing in a queer space.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, queer femme people
so
exist.
You know, chasers have, you know, more chasers have, you know, groped me than cis women. And that's just my experience. I don't know what anybody else has experienced, but more gay men who like the dolls have touched me than cis women on their bachelorette party.
Yeah, one time I went into, I'm not even gonna name the bar because it's not the bar's fault, but one time I went into a bar and I was just wearing a dress and some makeup. I wasn't even like in drag or anything. And this guy walked up to me and he goes, "Oh, you look so good in that dress." And like, I was like, "Oh, thank you." And he like immediately like reached out and just like grabbed my chest and like and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, you just look so good." And I'm like, "So consent goes out the window because I look good? Is that what you're saying?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have a problem." And it's like, what? You just like touched a stranger like 2 sentences into a conversation. You didn't think there was going to be a problem with that?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I feel like I've been touched by gay men more than I've been touched by straight men. But like, one thing that straight men do, like, let's just complain about every identity that's not trans people. Like, I
Please.
hate when cis men come into gay bars as a place to like bring their date, their date who's a woman, because they are a cis straight man. And like, this one is tricky because I like bisexuals exist and like people of different gender expressions and identities exist. So like, it's not inherently bad that like a straight couple or a straight appearing couple is making out in a bar. But I know there's men who I've seen many times who always have like a different woman there who have self-identified as straight, who will like make out in like at the piano at tavern, like right in the middle in the open. And like, my big problem with that is like, I couldn't go to a straight bar and make out with the guy that I was seeing because I might get like beat up. And so like, it's kind of insensitive to like come into this space that's not meant for you so you could like make out with your girlfriend. And a lot of them like are there because they're like cheating on their partners and they don't want to get caught, so they go to gay bars, which is like, what?
Or they're looking for like a third person and try to scout you in their like voyage and
yeah. Tea.
Mm-hmm.
Tea.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh, do you ever want to join us? Like, no, I don't. Please stop. I'm just sexual for myself and for my audience, not
and
for this.
Like, and you do some sexy dances, and I'm sure that like, I mean, you do burlesque more often than any of the rest of us. Like, what do you experience when like someone sees you being sexy on stage and like thinks that is not just a performance?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, like when I perform in spaces that are like the audience is largely cis and you know just there just to see like a sexy show or something, I've definitely noticed that like those bachelorette parties are kind of more, for me personally, they're a little bit more full of me and my body and how I look, because I'm not the standard like straight size like you see. I have more to me, where versus I go to a gay space or where the audience is predominantly gay or non-straight, I feel more appreciated and I feel like my art is more valued there and I feel celebrated there for being exactly who I am. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't, for me, I don't like the standard rate of pay for doing a show mainly with the cis audience is a lot. And I sometimes take those shows just because of those guarantees, but I don't get the money or the love from the audience all the time because of how I look. But if I go to another show where, the pay might be low, I will make up for that in tips because the audience does appreciate me more, if that makes any sense. I'm a little... So,
yeah. I get that. Like there's shows that like there are producers in the city that are doing shows like in the Northeast, like in the suburbs, in predominantly straight spaces. And like a lot of times I won't even like apply to be part of those shows because I'm like, I don't want to be in that kind of environment. Like I do queer art for my community, and like I don't know if like I'd be accepted in that kind of space because I feel like because of RuPaul's Drag Race, like they expect this like certain type of drag that I don't necessarily want to do. And like I do this in addition to a full-time job, so I don't necessarily need to take those gigs. And I don't fault anyone who's like, the suburb shows tip a lot better, people pay a lot more, and I'm like, go get your coin, girl. Like I get it.
yeah.
But like being able to not do that is like definitely a privilege that I have, but it's real. Like a lot of the shows that pay more, although it's interesting to hear that like that not being like a straight size is like, it can hurt your tips. Like I feel like there's a lot of like body positivity in queer burlesque spaces, and I'm not really familiar with straight burlesque spaces.
As a plus size performer, like where I perform, I'm like right on a college campus, so I have like, so the audience is mostly like cis, straight, maybe like, or maybe sometimes gay crowd. But you know what, I gotta say, like, especially like the kids there are very sweet, they're very supportive. But when like local drag queens, like cis gay drag queens come by, I've noticed that like sometimes they're kind of reserved when I'm performing, whereas like the local audience, like from like college, like they're like really supportive, and like they might not be able to tip me well, but their love has been great. It's been very reaffirming. But yeah, like I've definitely experienced that. Like I don't know if it's because I have like some physical limitations, so I'm not a great dancer. I don't know if it's because, I have saggy tits and a big belly. But I've definitely like, I've felt that hurt before, where like I feel like I'm being judged because I'm either a drag king or I'm fat. And especially like by like some like skinny drag queens, it's really hurtful, especially like considering like how big they are in our community. Like sorry, not to ramble, but yeah, I've had similar experiences like that.
No, but I totally feel that. I feel like there's something to be said about like the way that bigger bodies are policed. Like I sometimes, like I'm not wearing padding right now. I'm not wearing boobs. I'm not like, I don't always wear a wig. Like I'm not necessarily going for like female impersonation. And like, I feel like part of this is like kind of the mainstream nature of drag, since RuPaul's Drag Race has gotten kind of more mainstream success, and people having kind of this idea of this like polished pageant kind of drag as the standard. But like I see this all the time on RuPaul's Drag Race, where a very, very skinny queen will not wear any sort of padding whatsoever and will just put on a dress and be like kind of the fashion model, kind of like thin, long frame. But if a bigger queen does it, it's like, you're not padding. You have to proportionize. You have to be curvy, because if you're big, you must have curves in order to be seen as sexy. Mm-hmm. So I feel that, but I've tried to bring it back.
People without curves are just as sexy.
And that's the thing, is like, why can a skinny person not have any curves and be seen as attractive, but a bigger person has to have like an hourglass shape in order to be seen as valid?
Exactly.
It's pretty body policey. But I keep coming back to this because I asked this question, we never like really got to it because we got on so many tangents. But like, since RuPaul's Drag Race has gotten more mainstream success, and because RuPaul has kind of had this we're not going to invite like trans women who've transitioned medically onto the show. We're not going to have non-binary folks who are, for lack of a better way to say this, like who are AFAB folks on this show. Like, we're not going to have trans men. We're not going to have drag kings. Like, we're only going to have cis men and pre-transition trans women on this show. Like, have you all continued watching the show? Did you ever really watch the show? Are there like other shows that you watch instead?
I personally, and I'll speak for this season only, this current season, I've really been very disinterested in it. Whether that has to do with RuPaul's transphobia or Sherry Pie in general, I really couldn't tell you. But I don't think that its hold on queer culture is as strong as it used to be. And I personally think that that's a good thing.
For me, like, I only watched the show one when Kim Chi was on, because I noticed it would be on while I was living at my roommate's place at the time, and I loved her. And then I tried watching it on Hulu, and honestly, I couldn't really get into it that much. Definitely like a bigger fan of like Camp Wanakiki and Dragula.
I agree.
Yeah. For me personally, I was a RuPaul fan when I first came out because, you know, it was like representation, like it was something that it would help me explore this world more. But then, you know, once all of this comes to the show has the same format every season. Like, how many times can I be gagged by the same thing? How many times can I be impressed by the same thing over and over again? Like, I feel like it became stagnant. It became too comfortable. And then you pile that on top of transphobia and just being sexist and just like everything on top of one another is kind of just like, all right, I have no interest in watching this anyway. Like, I just see the pictures online to see the looks, and any highlights I can just catch on YouTube, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see my like supporting or trying to put even more coin in his pocket because it was great for the time that it came out, and we need to move forward, and we need to keep on progressing and keep on with the times of queer culture. And yeah,
that seems to happen a lot too, where it's like you have someone who did something revolutionary and was really pushing boundaries, but then they've been doing it for a while and they get a little, I guess they either get comfortable or like the world kind of passes by them and they're no longer that on the edge of like pushing the envelope. Yeah. And it's like, well, we appreciate you for what you did, but like, could you like stop being transphobic now, please? Like, yeah. That'd be great.
And stop fracking.
Oh my god! Fucking fracking.
When Peppermint and Monet exchanged, or wait, was it Bob? Bob.
The drag queen.
When Bob and Peppermint sat down to do an interview, and one of them said like something about like that thing with Rue, and the other one was like, "What, the fracking?" And they were both like, "Shh, ooh, don't talk about it," because they're both getting paychecks from her still. So it's like, "Ooh, don't talk about that." But
you said it, I did not.
Yeah, but that's one of the funniest clips ever. They just
you go.
That cracked me up. But like that's the thing is there's a lot of great performers who've been on the show who I want to support because like they're amazing performers. They're trans allies. They may be non-binary or trans themselves. Who like I want to support the cast without necessarily supporting Rue.
Mm-hmm.
Because like she does that kind of like preachy like older gay thing that like drives me crazy sometimes. It's like I get that we definitely like there's a lot of ageism in our community, and I get like respecting your like the generations that came before you, and like, but the same time respect is earned, and like if people are like talking down to younger generations and acting like better than, holier than, like making fun of like the newer generations like progression and like things that we're trying to do and change, it's like do better.
I mean,
I think they forget.
Oh,
What
you
was that,
know.
Rita?
I think a lot of like elders in the community forget that it's always a learning experience. And like just because you've been in the scene for X amount of years doesn't mean that you know everything, doesn't mean that everything is still the same. Like you taught us how to be ourselves. Now let us teach you how to move on forward with us, because a lot has changed since then. The give and take. Like I've noticed that a lot of times, like they'll be like, "Oh, well, I've been here for 20 years in this community, and we were able to do this and that back then. Okay, we're not there anymore, and
Yeah,
it's time for you to grow and learn.
I mean,
I've heard a lot.
You did a lot of shit, now learn."
I did shit 20 years ago that I would not do today.
See, for real. But that's the thing. Like I've heard a lot from older folks that like, we did all this. It used to be this bad, and now it's like this. And I'm like, thank you for that. And like, I understand, like, you don't need to be on the front lines fighting change, but like, don't tell us not to, because we should be happy with what you earned. Because like, I appreciate the progress you made, but it's not good enough. We need to keep moving. We need to keep pushing, because like, there's still transphobia. There's still there's still homophobia. There's still racism within our community, and we need to talk about these things. And so like, if you are like, I'm tired of fighting, I fought for 20 years and I just want to sit back, like, cool. But like, also don't tell us not to fight, because like, we're doing what you were doing when you were our age. We're pushing the world to be a better place. So like, you handed us the baton. Don't now put hurdles in front of us. Like, let us run with it.
Very.
Who needs to be replaced?
Yes, I agree. Oh my gosh, we got so many comments, because I've been kind of like not wanting to stop the conversation for them. But when talking about consent, Jeremy Adam, a local performer who just released a new single today, go listen to it now on Jeremy's page, says, one time when I was playing a gig with my band, a 60-something-year-old woman stuck her fingers in my mouth.
Ugh.
Yikes. Mind you, that was in Phoenixville. That's unfortunately explains
That makes sense.
Bretzo said, I had a woman years ago at Sisters slap my butt and be like, it's okay, I'm a lesbian. It's after the show, but in the same room. So the rules that laid down at the beginning of the show should exist. I agree. Like, don't touch people without their consent ever, regardless of whether it's in a show or after a show or before a show or on the street. Like, just don't touch people.
Yeah.
Keep your hands to yourself.
This one. Every time I wear fur, random people touch me.
I hate that.
Pads, hair, tattoos with exposed tattoos. Like, I forget that this is not mirrored. I'm like, this one. Like, people like just reaching out and touching.
When I was in high school and had like a little smaller waist, but still like the big tits and ass, almost everyone wanted to try to touch my tits and ass at any point ever. And I'm like, I know I'm touch starved, but can we not?
Yeah, right now I'm very touch starved, but even then, I still only want certain people touching me. Like,
Exactly.
I remember the first time I wore an Astro booty. Like, I don't have an ass. Like, my back just continues down to the back of my knees. Like, it's like a frog standing up and putting pants on. Like, I do not have an ass. But like, my first time wearing an Astro booty, I like walked to the club and people smacked my ass, and I was like, I don't care if it's couch cushions. It's attached to my body.
Yeah.
Do not touch it. It felt like just as a violation of someone slapping my ass, even if I didn't have padding in there. It's like,
if it's on your body, it's a part of you.
Yes.
Exactly.
Agreed.
I'm a person who loves to touch a good butt. Like, I love touching butts. I love groping butts. Like, I just love everything about the butts. And I always come up to the person, hey, are you okay if I slap your butt? Like, how hard is that?
Yes.
Like, oh yeah.
If you're not thinking about it and you just ask, a lot of times a firm will be like, sure. Some of them will be like, I don't really know you that well. And it's like, that's cool too. Yeah. But like, ask. It's like, I know it's kind of like, I feel like people are like so bad at communication. Like, the other day I posted, like, I'm going to start like watching sitcoms with like future partners and asking like, what do you think of the communication skills on this show? Because like, I feel like people just like don't know how to like have simple conversations, and like they let misunderstandings like explode because they're not just like willing to have an awkward conversation that would last 5 minutes.
See, when I first started dating my boyfriend, I was tired of like the whole, miscommunications bullshit. So I was like, look, if I have a problem with you, I'm going to tell you. I want you to tell me the same thing. And you know what? We do that. At the most, we'll take like a few minutes to cool off before we talk about how we're feeling, but we do it and we feel better. And like the problem solved in less than an hour.
Yes. And also
it's that easy.
Also, I'm not a mind reader, and I do not read body cues as a definitive statement because there's a lot of ambiguity there. So if you are upset, say something. Do not huff around me and hope that I pick up on it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, it's not easy. Like, I read tarot cards, not body language.
Samantha said, same, chasers are the worst, so aggressive and creepy. Listen, even aggressive talking, like aggressive flirting, I feel like there should be some sort of level of consent to the conversation, because like some people push like boundaries, and it's like, I know like you're trying to flirt, but it's like really off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes I just wish they would be like, hey, do you want to flirt with me? You know?
It's like, excuse me, person, I would like to flash my vibrant colors at you and make awkward conversation for the next 3 to 5 minutes. May I?
Yeah.
That's
Here for it.
Do.
Here for it. Also, like, there's people like, what am I supposed to do? Be like, can I kiss you? It's like,
yeah,
sure. Like you could, but like, you could also say like, I really want to kiss you, and wait to see if they say like, well, go for it. Like, you don't have to like straight out ask. Like, you can be a little bit flirtatious about it. Like, you don't have to be
like they could like, if you've given them consent to like touch you, they can like put like their hand on your face, kind of cup your face, and then like lean in and be like, may I kiss you? Or I really want to kiss you. Like, that is so fucking hot.
Oh, but also let's talk about hugs, because I know for a fact that like, and this is something that I had to learn to stop doing as well, is that not everyone enjoys hugs. And I grew up in a family where hugs were a big thing, but there are folks who it's like, unless we are close friends, I don't want people touching me or hugging me. But like, there's also a lot of folks who are just like, default, let's hug. And like,
I'm definitely a default hugger.
But yeah, there's definitely folks who like have like just don't like being touched, folks who've experienced past trauma. Like, there's lots of reasons people don't want to be touched, and there's a lot of reasons people don't want to be touched by a stranger. And so like, let's normalize consent for like everyday things like hugs and like handshakes, because also there's folks who don't do handshakes because they're germophobic, because they're observant of a certain religion that doesn't allow them to shake hands with certain people. Like, there's Muslim women who can't shake the hands of men who they do not know. Like, there's a lot of reasons that people don't want to touch.
Can I be honest with y'all for a second?
Yeah.
I have to pee. Can I go pee real quick?
No, you must stay there and sit in your piss.
Okay.
Please do.
Bye.
All right.
No, for me, Beary, like, you know me, I come from a Hispanic family. If I bypass someone without giving them a hug and a kiss, I am disrespecting them. Like, I hate them. I put a curse on their household. So I am the type of person that's always reaching out just naturally for hugs, for kisses. But if I can stop myself, I've also stopped reaching out my hands to ask for a hug, because I know that makes people uncomfortable too. Makes them feel obligated to say yes. So like, if I go there and be like, hey, like, do you want a hug? Like, can I give you a hug? Like, it should come easily for everyone, basically. Like, just ask a simple, hey, do you want to be touched by me?
Yeah, like I remember that I had I like went up and hugged someone, like, because I knew them, but I didn't know them super well, and like I hugged them and they like tensed up. And the next time I saw them was like a few months later, and I did it again because I forgot. And then they were like, I was like, I noticed again, I'm so sorry. Like I'll really make an effort. And like since that point, I've like made sure that like I always ask, or like if I always like do something like kind of like the half like, hey, and then if I like they don't kind of return the like hands out type thing, I'm like, oh right, ask for permission first. And then be okay if they say no thank you. That's another thing that I feel like people get really awkward when you're like, can I have a hug? And they're like, no. And you're like, why not? It's like, well, why don't you say like, okay, cool. Like you asked, like accept the answer.
It's
Right.
No is no.
Like, to be a legitimate response to that.
Yes.
I mean, I grew up in an Italian household, so like Rita, kind of like you don't hug a relative. You might as well just said "fuck you" to them. But like I've also like, and it wasn't until like recently I found that I have friends who don't like to hug and I'm like, okay, I need to learn how to ask for hugs in a way that doesn't make a person feel uncomfortable. Because I don't want to be like the creepy uncle, be like, "Can I get a hug?"
Yeah. We have a question. It's asked a while ago. I missed it. Devin asked if any of you had to choose a theme song, what would you choose?
"Bitch" by Meredith Brooks.
Yes. Good choice. I love how you had that like ready to go.
He should know I had that ready to go.
I have mine ready too. What about you, Rita?
A theme song? That's like commitment to one song.
This is also not an official answer. This is not legally binding. You can change it later if you decide to do this.
It could also like what kind? Maybe I could have like different theme songs for different themes.
I think one of the top ones would be "Strut" by the Cheetah Girls.
Yes.
I could just sit there,
the girl.
Yes.
I would have to say, personally, for me, the entire MacArthur Park suite, all 18 minutes.
Yes. Diva Baby. Yes.
For any of you who did not see that, I don't even know if the video exists online anymore, but like you should find it because that was 18 minutes of heaven.
Yeah, I am Philadelphia's current reigning Miss MacArthur Park suite.
Listen,
I am the only performer in Philadelphia to have performed all 18 minutes, and that's fine.
And you did it online too, right? So you've done it twice.
On my crown, you don't know.
You did it online as well too, right?
No, I didn't do it online. I did
Lana Del Rey.
Similarly, though, I did do Lana Del Rey's full Norman fucking Rockwell album.
Yes.
I'm just really interested in nightlife acts that are longer than nightlife acts are supposed to be. I think they're really fun.
Yeah.
I love when a drag queen gets up and does a 10-minute live Patti LaBelle number. I'm looking at Ace ago. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think so. But the night that you did MacArthur Park, the night that you did MacArthur Park, I was living my best life. And I was like drunk on the roof deck of Taboo. And I like came downstairs and I saw you were on the stage and I got so excited. And I pulled out my phone and recorded like a few minutes of your performance. I tipped you. And then I like went back upstairs and everyone afterwards was like, Adam did an 18-minute number. And I was like, what? Like I thought I saw most of the song. I was like, I was there for like 3 minutes. I was like, oh, they're probably almost done. Like, and I was just like no. I was overwhelmed with the room because like, I was just like, there's too many people here. It's I'm too drunk for this. I'm going to go back outside. And then everyone's like 18 minutes. And I was like, well, I'm glad I was there for part of it.
Well, that's why we did it at like 1 a.m. because we started it at 1 because I figured the people, like everybody's so drunk. So like one of 3 things is going to happen. Either A, they're not going to see it at all because they're wasted. Or B, they're going to see 2 minutes of it and think that it was the whole thing. Or C, they're going to start watching me and be like, wow, this is amazing. And then they're going to get to the end and they're going to look at their phone and they're going to be like, wow, that was 18 minutes long. I did not realize that.
Or they'll get to like what, how long is this song? Like halfway through, like it's been 5 minutes. How long is this thing? It's been 12 minutes. How long is this thing?
I started doing drag because of the MacArthur Park suite, hands down. I've always wanted to do it front to back since I started doing drag. And it was such a dream come true. I'm so grateful that House let me do that.
Yes.
I actually, when I heard they were doing Disco House, I messaged Pi and I was like, I will pay you. You don't have to pay me. I will pay you money to let me do this.
I'm here for it.
And I didn't have to pay, but they didn't pay me either. I did it for free.
Can I just say, when your performance went on on Facebook, all I saw was Diva Baby just did 18 fucking minutes, and I clicked it. I sat there, I watched it. I couldn't believe how amazing this was that I had to stop it halfway through and cast it onto my television and
God.
sit here and bask in this. It made my heart so happy. You're so beautiful, so talented. I cried. I cried.
Oh, that means so much. Thank you.
You have to look up this video. I got to see it.
God, you have to.
Yeah, life-changing.
Copy too. But
Actually, I think it's on Arlo's timeline. They're the one who live streamed it.
Yes. I'll check out their timeline.
The other
their timeline to search through.
To answer the question though, if I was to have a theme song, I haven't decided which one or if I'm going to do a mashup of the two, but I'm literally going to record. I'm having Jeremy Adam record a theme song for this show. And I haven't decided what it's going to be, but it's either going to be part of the Mary Tyler Moore theme song from the show in the 70s. Or
oh my God,
it'll be that show that goes, the song that goes, She's Tyler Moore, she's Mary. She's Tyler Moore, she's Mary. Like on repeat, but with Beary.
Oh my God. I vote for because I love that song.
I may also do both and just do like one as the opening song and one as the like credits song.
Yes.
You should do that.
Hell yeah.
I'm here for it. Let's do it.
I think my drag theme song though would be Fat by Weird Al.
Oh my God.
Hell yeah.
Like that was actually I actually used a little bit of that song in my first ever performance, and I fucking loved it so much.
Oh my God, Jeremy says Rita is so fucking freaking precious. Of course,
She
I make it
is.
into a curse
They are.
word.
I'm sorry.
They are.
Oh my God.
Adorable.
Do you guys understand how much I love Jeremy? Like, high key, throwing it
Jeremy
out there.
is like one of my besties. I'm in Jeremy's phone as Bambi, and I'm like every time I find, every time I remember that, I'm just like, oh. Belena says, please throw a hat up in the air. Yes, I plan to. I'll have to record that though. I'm really bad at like getting into drag before the sun goes down because I plan to do it and then I look outside and I'm like, oh shit, it's late.
What if you get into drag before the sun goes up?
I am not a morning person. If I'm up when the sun goes up, it's because I didn't go to bed, which I did the other day. I was reading a novel, like a romance novel, like trashy, like free on Amazon romance novel, and I was stayed up till 6:30 in the morning. I was so tired the next day.
I did the same thing with a fan fiction.
Just go to bed in your eye makeup.
I know a few drag queens who have done full on makeup for brunch, and then or had makeup on from a Saturday night show and then went to bed like this, like lying on their back. And then in the morning just touched up their makeup and went to brunch.
You know, when I die, that's how I would like to go.
Yeah. Belena says disco symphonic suites are where it's at. So to Adam's point of 18 long performances.
We love them.
Jeremy says we're doing both. So there you go. We're going to do both songs.
Yay.
The third option on theme songs for the Beary Tyler Moore show is what?
Oh, I think Bretzo was saying that they support the third option.
Oh, doing both. Okay, I was like, what's the third option? I only said 2, but I did say 3. See, short-term
Tell us your
memory
secrets, Bretzo.
Oh my gosh, Bretzo. Bretzo's tagline, I can't even remember it, but I love that it's like petty. I believe that Bretzo's tagline was like something shady that someone said to him, and he just was like, "That's my tagline now." I think it's like you're just a dick in a mustache. I think that's one of them. It's like 2 of them together.
Oh my God!
I mean,
and so when you welcome Bretzo to the stage, it's like he's a dick in a mustache. Like, welcome to the stage, the great losing Bretzo.
I might aspire to be like that.
I need to change up my tagline.
What's your tagline now?
I'm just a Puerto Rican firecracker. Monty gave it to me.
It's a good one, but like I get the like want to like try something new and change something.
Mm-hmm. Diva, what's your tagline?
One time Denial said she's she's the highbrow, lowbrow, unibrow.
Yes.
Diva Baby.
I love that.
I love that.
Yes.
So that was the first tagline I've ever like reused. Shout out to Denial for that one.
My tagline
Denial.
is the genderqueer the genderqueer sitcom reboot nobody asked for.
Oh,
I asked for it.
I love that.
Oh, Bretzo commented, he's just a dick and a mustache, funny but unnecessary. I love that one so much. And then, so Chris said, I thought throwing the hat was from That Girl, which I don't know enough about old sitcoms to tell you, but I think the Mary Tyler Moore Show, I think she did because everyone thinks about it because she threw it in the air and it freeze framed, and that's actually the logo of my show, and my like merch is me throwing a hat. Which actually, let me grab that real quick. Oh.
So now that I have you all
available now. Mary Tyler Moore merch of me throwing a hat in the air. And all of my wine glasses clinking behind me while I sit down and bang into my bar.
Amazing.
I miss getting banged into a bar.
Oh, same. Mood.
That's the one who's never been banged into a bar.
Don't mind me. I'm just chilling here with a parasol.
Out for a stroll.
Yeah, actually,
on brand for you.
I lent that to Eric Jaffe for The Lizard of Oz, which also a fantastic show. And then their partner Greg was going to bring it to me, but I was out of town, and so like it was stuck with them in quarantine. And I was like, oh no. But then I got lashes that I bought from Eric ordered like a bunch of 401 lashes from Wish, and like they didn't arrive till like months later. Like they ordered them like last year and was like, who wants them? And I was like, me. So then I was like, bring you a parasol too.
I'm wearing those very lashes right now.
Yes, we love to see it.
We love it. Oh my God.
They are very cute. I drew on my lashes.
This is just my work beat, y'all. Gotta work today.
I also had to work today, but I ended at 5:30 so I can get it to makeup.
Oh, hey.
Yes. But I think that's a good place to end because this has been the longest show yet, which I knew kind of would happen with 3 guests. But we're coming up on an hour and a half. So I think we're gonna end the show here. But I wanted to know if any of you had any digital shows to plug or things that you wanted the audience to know before we sign off for the evening. Let's start with Rita, and then Holden, and then Diva Baby, since we're like that on the screen. Take it away.
I'm actually not doing any digital shows simply because, I'm working bi-weekly and, it's a little bit taxing for me. But I know Miss Diva Baby has a show coming up this week. So yeah, let's hear about that.
Okay. So yeah, I have this coming Thursday and then every other Thursday, I co-host a show called Sad Girl Spring. It's over on my Diva Baby Facebook page. And then also on the 20th, I'm doing a very special, very important one-off event called the Diva Baby Long Haul. I will be showcasing numbers that are longer than 10 minutes. We have 4 performers. I'm super excited about it. And maybe I will be passing along my crown as Philadelphia's reigning Miss MacArthur Park Suite during that show. Maybe, just maybe.
I'm here for it. I hope that the live show doesn't
I'm intrigued.
get zapped for copyright, though. That'd be annoying.
Okay.
Holden, anything to promote?
Let's see. Well, right now I'm not doing any shows because my apartment is hazardous. But I did recently win the title of Quarantine King.
Yay! Congratulations!
Thank you. First thing I've ever actually won.
And those pictures were fantastic. Like you shared like some of the entries for that, and that was amazing. Like you looked great.
Honestly, like, ever since quarantine, my drag has just been elevating and elevating. Now all I need are more wigs and costumes.
That's just, yeah, you'll accumulate them. Don't you worry.
Oh,
They accumulate fast for sure. So to remind everyone, this show is, we go based off of tips. We donate to our performers, and we also give a portion of the proceeds to the Philadelphia Performance Artist Emergency Fund. So please donate if you can. And we will be back here next week with Onyx Ondix and Beary, producers of Cutthroat Queen. So join us next Tuesday at 7:30, and we'll see you then. Have a great rest of your week. Bye, y'all.
yes!
Bye, everyone.
Bye.